Now let us read the story. One September night, a family had gathered round their herd, okay, and piled it high with the driftwood of mountain streams, the tricorns of the pine, and the splintered ruins of great trees that had come crashing down the precipice. Up the chimney roared the fire and brightened the room with its broad blaze. The faces of the father and the mother had a sober gladness. The children laughed. The eldest daughter was the image of happiness at 17, and the aged grandmother, who sat knitting in the warmest place, was the image of happiness grown old. So, here we are introduced to this family where one September night, this family had gathered round their herd. Herd means fireplace, okay? So, they had sat around the fireplace, and the fireplace was piled high, okay, with the driftwood of mountain streams. It means mountain streams. Streams means river. Now, students, we all know that the rivers comes to the shore. The water is washed ashore and then it goes back into the river, and when the water comes to the shore, there are a lot of things that it brings with it, okay? Lot of things comes along, okay, along the river that are brought on by the river, and this all the things it reaches the river bank. Now because like it reaches the river bank which are brought like because of the streams, the because of the movements of water, okay? So this driftwood refers to the pieces of wood which were brought down by the river. So the family had gathered the woods and used it for fire, okay? This is how they gathers the wood, okay, for fire. Then so the next thing that they use to light up the fire is the tricorns of the pine trees. Now pine trees are found in abundance in the mountains, okay? Pine tree, like the only trees that are found in plain, like that are found in numbers, like in abundance, is the pine tree. Now so the dried branches, okay, dried the dry branches of the pine tree. Splintered ruins means the cracked broken branches of trees, okay, which comes along with the river, which are brought down by the streams, and it crushes down the precipice. Now crushes down the precipice means the stones, okay? So these things get stuck in the stones. So when it gets stuck in the river bank, then this is how they used to go and collect the wood. So this family had gathered these woods and they were using it to warm themselves. Now the heavy flames of the fire, okay, the heavy flames of the fire had the because of the heavy flames of the fire, the room had brightened up, okay? Now the family members are introduced to us. Here the father and mother were there and had both the mother and father had sober gladness. Now here sober gladness means simple, okay? Simple people without having any pride. Okay, so like they were not proud of anything. Okay, so they were just happy and satisfied. Both the mother and father, they were just two happy people who are happy and satisfied with life. And this satisfaction and happiness could be seen, okay, could be clearly seen on their faces. Children were laughing, and the eldest daughter, now they had their eldest daughter, who was just 17 years of age, and her personality, okay, was the personality of the eldest daughter was so attractive, very charming, that it seemed that she was happy. Okay, the daughter was so charming, her personality, her behavior was so charming that it seemed that she was happy. She was an image of, so the author says that she was the image of happiness. She was the image of happiness. Okay, images of happiness. The eldest daughter depicts the image of happiness at 17. That means at a yeah, 17 means it's a very young age, right? So teenage, right? We can say teenage. So she was an image of happiness at 17, and she was an ideal. Okay, she was an ideal. This daughter was an ideal personality who represented how to be happy. Okay, she represented the idea of how to be happy. Now, the grandmother, who was obviously aged, okay, she was old. Aged means old. She was very old and was sitting at the warmest place. Sitting at the warmest place means the place where the warmth of the fire was maximum. Okay, where there was enough heat. Okay, because she was old, so she was sitting at the place where the heat of where the warmth of the fire was max. And this grandmother, she was knitting, and she was the image of happiness grown old. Now see, daughter was the image of happiness at 17, and the grandmother, she is the image of happiness grown old. So just like the eldest daughter represented happiness and satisfaction at the age of 17, the grandmother, despite, okay, even though she was old, was equally happy and satisfied with her life. And this satisfaction and happiness could be reflected on her face and personality. Now we'll read from the textbook. They had found the herb heart's ease in the bleakest spot of all New England. This family was situated in the notch of the White Hills, where the wind was sharp throughout the year and pitilessly cold in the winter, giving their cottage all its fresh inclemency before it descended on the valley of the Saco. They toiled in a cold spot and a dangerous one, for a mountain towered above their heads, so steep that the stones would often rumble down its sides and startle them at midnight. So the explanation of this passage, of the remaining passage, I will give you in the next class. So before you attend for the next class, I want you to read your textbook. All right.